Once the world was overburdened by the unnecessary defense force of different kings who were actually demons but were posing as the royal order. At that time, the whole world became perturbed, and Bhumi, the predominating deity of this earth, came before the grandsire of the universe, Lord Brahma. Bhumi assumed the shape of a cow and approached him with tears in her eyes.
O Lord Brahma, kindly hear me, for I have sad news. All the people, the animals, and the land of the earth are very much disturbed. The trees no longer bear sweet fruits. The birds within the forest no longer sing with gentle voices. And now that the pious kings have been imprisoned, the saints and brahmanas are persecuted. We are at the mercy of rogues and thieves who have become the heads of state and call themselves our protectors. O Lord Brahma, please, something must be done. We cannot tolerate this condition much longer.
O Mother Earth, what are we to do? Since time immemorial we have seen conflict between the demigods and the demons. The demigods are pious and accept the supremacy of God, but the demons wish to usurp the property of the Supreme Lord and use it for their own selfish ends. They take this mundane world to be the all-in-all, and the flickering enjoyment of sensual pleasure as the ultimate goal of life. Bound by innumerable desires, the demoniac are lost to themselves and are never satisfied.
Yes, these men are engaged in horrible works meant to destroy the earth. Something must be done to alleviate this condition. Something must be done.
Hear me. Within this universe lies a planet called Swetadweep. And on that planet is an ocean of milk where the Supreme Personality of Godhead resides. Lord Vishnu is the master of this universe, the supreme God of all gods. Let us proceed at once to the shores of the milk ocean and petition him with all the humility at our command.
And thus Lord Brahma and Bhumi arrived at those shores, accompanied by Shiva on his bull, King Indra on his elephant, Surya and Chandra, the gods of the sun and the moon, Kuvera, the lord of wealth, Agni, the god of fire, and Vayu, the wind god, as well as many other demigods, and there recited prayers to satisfy Lord Vishnu. But they heard no response. Then Lord Brahma sat silently in meditation, and although the demigods heard only the waves breaking upon the shore, Lord Brahma, the grandsire, received a transcendental message within his heart from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Vishnu.
My dear Lord Brahma, because I am seated within the hearts of all beings, I am already aware of the distress on earth. Do not fear. I will appear on the earth very soon, along with my supreme powerful potencies. And as long as I remain on the earth planet to annihilate the demons and protect my devotees, the demigods should also remain there to assist me. They should all take birth in the family of the Yadu dynasty, wherein I will also appear in due course of time.
the leader of the Yadu dynasty, King Surusen, ruled the kingdom from his capital city of Mathura. One day, the residents beheld a grand celebration as his son Vasudev married the beautiful daughter of King Devaka, known as Devaki.
Being very affectionate toward his daughter, King Devaka had given a sufficient dowry, which included 400 fully decorated elephants, 15,000 fine horses, and 1,800 chariots, completely decorated with golden ornaments. At that time, Vasudev mounted his chariot to return home with his bride, when Kamsa stepped forward. Kamsa, the son of Ugrasena, was one of the kings of the Bhojas. So in order to please his sister Devaki, Kamsa took the reins of the horses, and as is the custom, drove his sister and brother-in-law to their home.
And thus the procession continued in a festive mood, while musical instruments played to indicate the auspicious moment. Conch shells, bugles, and drums resounded. The atmosphere was very pleasing as Kamsa drove the chariot. Then suddenly a voice vibrated from the sky. Kamsa, you are such a fool. You are driving the chariot of your sister and brother-in-law, but you do not know that the 8th child of this sister will kill you. It is said that Kamsa was the most demoniac of all the Bhoja kings. Immediately after hearing the prophecy, he caught hold of Devaki's hair and raised his sword to kill her.
Oh, my lord!
Kamsa, stop! You are the most famous king of the Bhoja dynasty. You are brave and powerful. How is it that you are prepared to kill a woman, your own sister, at the time of her marriage?
Didn't you hear the omen? It said her child would kill me.
Why should you be so much afraid of death? From the day you took birth, you began to die. Every moment, every second you are dying. The death of this body is inevitable, but you are not this body. You are an eternal spirit soul. Why should you be so much afraid?
Get out of my way!
Kamsa, I beg you not to be overwhelmed by the fear which arises from within your mind. The mind is flickering. In the space of a moment it can accept and reject the same thought. Oh, great hero, why not conquer over the mind? Then it will be the best of friends. If not, it will be your greatest enemy.
I say to hell with your useless preaching.
But a younger sister should be protected as one's child. If you kill her, it will go against your high reputation.
All I know is what I heard in the sky, and the celestial voices don't lie.
My dear brother, the celestial voice said nothing about Devaki. You have nothing to fear from her. It is only from her sons, and who knows, she may not even have any sons in the future.
And if she does?
Then I promise to bring them all to you.
Oh no, Vasudev.
It must be done.
Very well, Vasudev. I'll take you at your word. I'll spare Devaki, and you'll bring your children to me, one by one, as soon as they are born.
As time passed, Devaki gave birth to her first child, a boy. Her heart was filled both with joy and dread. Devaki, give me the child.
Vasudev, please, you can't, I beg you.
Remember, I promised Kamsa.
But my brother is cruel. I'm afraid.
Still, this must be done.
Can't we go away?
Devaki, listen to me. We cannot give Kamsa the slightest cause for suspicion. He must be convinced that I am a man of my word. Somehow we must live. I know that our 8th child will not be ordinary. Believe me, we will trick your brother and save the 8th child. Now I must go.
Oh, Lord, give me strength.
Vasudev is here to see you, my lord.
Well, send him in! Send him in! Vasudev, come, come. Let me see my nephew. What is his name?
His name is Kirtiman.
Ah, just see how he grabs my finger. He's a strong little fellow. Surely he will be the pride of the Bozha and Yaru dynasties. Vasudev, you are true to your word. You have pleased me very much.
It was very difficult for me to bring him to you.
My dear brother-in-law, I am not in danger from this child. The omen forewarned me of your 8th son. Here, you can take him back.
Why, Kamsa, thank you. You don't know how happy this will make your sister.
I will drink to the child's health. Give my best wishes to Devaki. My good counselors, come forward. You have heard all? What do you say?
He brought you the child. He's certainly true to his word.
Very truthful indeed.
Yes, full of truth. Such men are annoying, for I am certain that they play upon the truth for their own gain.
Vasudev is a predictable soul. Therefore he bores me. I have nothing further to say about the matter.
I despise men of his mold, so upright and moral. He thinks himself superior because he is willing to accept, without complaint, whatever Providence bestows upon him.
Vasudev is content to take the child home alive, and in return, he will be my obedient dog.
Constantly keeping Krishna's holy name upon his lips, the great sage Narada Muni travels throughout the entire universe on the sound vibration of his stringed instrument, the Veena. Thus he is known as the eternal spaceman, to whom the mysteries of creation are revealed. This pure-hearted one perceives the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna everywhere, be it within the radiant sun, or the flowing rivers, within the wind or the rush of great oceans, within the chirping of birds or the roar of a lion, within the gentle rain or all-devouring death, within the strength of the strong or within silence and wisdom, within adventure, within a little seed, within the syllable Om, and within the holy name. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Sage Narada was very anxious to accelerate the descent of Lord Krishna, who would appear as the 8th child of Devaki. So that night, he descended from the heavenly planets and approached Kamsa.
My dear Narada, welcome. You are as brilliant as the sun, as powerful as fire, and you are free from all tinges of sinful life. Please, be seated. Accept our prostrated respects.
My dear king, you have satisfied me with a proper reception. Therefore, I shall tell you something secret and confidential. While Lord Brahma was consulting with the demigods at the top of Sumeru Hill, I was also present.
Pray tell. And what was the topic of discussion?
They were conspiring to kill the demons headed by you, because you have all become a burden to the Earth planet.
What? This accounts for the voice in the sky. O great sage, last year while driving my sister and brother-in-law home from their wedding reception, a voice from the sky prophesied that I would be killed
by the 8th son of Devaki.
Yes, by the 8th son.
And the demigods, headed by Brahma, have petitioned the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Vishnu, Sri Krishna himself.
Vishnu? My heart quickens at the very sound of the name.
Oh dear sir, I fear it as much as I fear death itself.
In a previous birth, you were the great demon Kalanemi, and at that time you were killed by Lord Vishnu.
Tell me, am I destined to be killed by him again?
Kamsa, do not despair. As long as you have intelligence and strength, you must try to avoid death. This is the duty of every embodied person.
So it is possible to alter the course of the prophecy. Of course! Otherwise, why have you given me your good counsel?
Now you must act without delay. The demigods have already taken birth in the Yadu dynasty and are secretly preparing for the Lord's descent.
What? Already? Then Vishnu might take birth at any time.
Take heed, Kamsa, and farewell.
Fare thee well, O sage of the universe. Counselor, come here.
Yes, yes, my lord, I am coming. Here I am at your beck and call.
We must act now. Arrest Vasudeva and Devaki at once. Chain them in iron shackles. Bring their child to me. I will kill him and every child born of Devaki.
And what of the demigods, your majesty?
Begin persecution of the Yadu dynasty.
But your father, he will not allow this.
Yes, my father is soft-hearted and will oppose my plans. Imprison him, and King Shurasena also. No one should stand in my way. And lastly, send messengers far and wide to the Magadha province, to my father-in-law, the powerful demon king Jarasandha. He is to my liking. I shall make an alliance with him, and also with the 1,000-armed King Banasura, and King Bomasura as well. Then I will have complete rule. I declare myself king of all places.
Harassed by Kamsa, many of the kings and citizens of the Bhoja and Yadu dynasties fled to different states. Akrura, one of the Yadus, knew the secret that Krishna would soon descend, and thus he decided to stay behind. But one of his friends tried to dissuade him.
Akrura, please, come with us. Many of the Yadus have already fled to the south and to the east. We go north to Hastinapur.
Go without me.
It's no longer safe here, not even for you.
Don't worry, I'll be all right.
Our Yadu race is being ruthlessly persecuted by this madman. You think you're safe? You're his friend? But Kamsa cannot be trusted. He can turn on you at any moment. I can't understand why on earth you'd want to stay.
Nothing on earth is making me stay, my friend. Only this, that the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna will soon appear as Devaki's 8th child. I can't run away like the others. I'll do anything to stay, even bow down and serve Kamsa. What does such an inconvenience matter when we can be blessed by the pastimes of Lord Krishna? He is coming for our benefit, for the benefit of all conditioned souls.
The Supreme Lord is descending here?
Yes.
Amongst the Yadu dynasty?
Yes, the Yadus have been chosen. Can't you see why it would be foolish for us to leave now? Stay, no matter what the price. Don't be afraid. Learn to be satisfied with whatever the Lord provides, and dwell always within Him, for He will protect His servants and destroy the demoniac. And then He will again put forth the true principles of religion.
Yes, I will stay. And if need be, let everything that I own but my faith be cast into the wind.
In prison, Vasudeva and Devaki gave birth to a male child year after year. And Kamsa, thinking each of the babies to be the incarnation of Vishnu, killed them one after another.
My lord, my lord, my lord! Here, I have the child. The 6th one she's given birth to, and it's another male. Look how beautiful he is. It's probably Vishnu. My lord, please kill him without delay.
Give me a knife.
Kamsa, I've heard she's had another boy.
Yes, and he's right here in my arms.
Yes, you're just in time.
Year after year, I've seen you kill your sister's children. Please, take compassion and let this one live.
Oh, no, my lord, we can't do that. We mustn't take any chances. He might be Vishnu.
Everyone knows the threat is from the 8th child. Therefore, stop these heinous activities. Let him live.
No, we can't. We mustn't. Vishnu is crafty.
Yes, very crafty. He tricked Ravana, he tricked Bali and Hiranyakashipu, and many other great warriors. But he won't trick me!
No! Oh, no! Kamsa, how could you?
He dies so I shall live. You want me to live, don't you? Don't you?
Of course.
Then bow before your king. Bow.
When Devaki became pregnant for the 7th time, a plenary expansion of Krishna, known as Ananta, appeared within her womb. Devaki was overwhelmed with both joy and fear. She could understand that Lord Vishnu had taken shelter within her womb, but at the same time, she was sorry that as soon as her child would come out, Kamsa would kill him. At that time, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, took compassion upon the Yadus. Due to the many atrocities committed by Kamsa, Lord Krishna ordered the appearance of Yoga Maya, his internal potency.
My dear Yogamaya,
Yes, my lord. How can I serve you?
at the present moment, Devaki and Vasudeva are imprisoned by Kamsa. My plenary expansion, Shesha, is within the womb of Devaki. Please transfer Lord Shesha to the womb of Rohini. Make it seem that Devaki had a miscarriage. After this, I myself will enter the womb of Devaki with my full potency. When I appear as the son of Devaki and Vasudeva, you should also appear as the daughter of Nanda and Yashoda in Vrindavan.
It will be as you desire, my lord.
Yoga Maya then circumambulated the Supreme Lord and entered within this material world according to his order. Thus Lord Sesha, otherwise known as Balaram, was transferred from the womb of Devaki to the womb of Rohini. Everyone, including Devaki, perceived of this as a miscarriage. Even the wicked Kamsa was sad to hear of this news. Balaram entered safely into the womb of Rohini in Vrindavan to appear as her son. After this arrangement, the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna, who is always ready to bestow his full potencies in his unalloyed devotees, entered as the Lord of the whole creation within the mind of Vasudeva.
When Vasudeva was sustaining the form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead within his heart, he appeared just like the glowing sun, whose shining rays are always unbearable and scorching to the common man. Thus, the eternal form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead was transferred from the mind of Vasudeva to the mind of Devaki, exactly as the rays of the setting sun are transferred to the full moon rising in the east. Devaki became the residence of the Absolute Truth.
Kamsa descended the stairway down to the prison cell and observed the transcendental beauty of his sister. he at once concluded that the Supreme Personality of Godhead had taken shelter in her womb. She had never before looked so wonderfully beautiful. He could distinctly understand that there was something wonderful within the womb of Devaki.
What is to be done with Devaki? Surely she has Vishnu within her womb. So it is certain that Krishna has come to execute the mission of the demigods. If I kill Devaki at the present moment, Vishnu will enforce his supreme will more vehemently. To kill Devaki just now would be a most abominable act. No one desires to ruin his reputation. If I kill Devaki now, my reputation will be spoiled. Devaki is a woman, and she is under my shelter. She's pregnant. If I kill her, my reputation, the result of pious activities and duration of life, will be finished. A person who is too cruel, even in this lifetime, is as good as dead. No one likes such a person, and after his death, people curse him, and he is pushed into the darkest region of hell. Guard!
Yes, my lord.
Stay here. Keep a constant vigil, and inform me as soon as the child is born.
Kamsa decided not to kill Devaki, but to wait for the child's birth. Thus being merged in an ocean of hatred, he began to think of Krishna while sitting, sleeping, walking, and eating, in all situations of his life. His mind became so absorbed in thought of the Supreme Lord that indirectly he could see only Krishna around him. But Kamsa is not recognized as a devotee because he was thinking of Krishna only as an enemy.
Your midday meal, my lord.
What's that?
What, my lord?
There's someone on the balcony.
There's no one, my lord.
No one? You fool, I heard it myself. The door from the balcony swung open.
There's no danger. It's only a good wind that comes from the west.
A good wind, is it? You fool! You are thinking a wind. But I tell you truly, it is my enemy, Lord Vishnu.
Forgive me, I did not know.
Of course you did not know. Just see how clever he is. Vishnu is on the threshold of my chamber, and you are thinking a good wind.
Well, I'll inform the palace guards immediately. He will not escape them.
Do not think he's so easily apprehended. How do you propose to catch the wind, eh? No, you cannot. I wish to have a word with my ministers. Bid them come with due haste.
Yes, my lord.
At this time, Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva, accompanied by Narada Muni and followed by many other demigods, invisibly appeared in the prison of Kamsa. They began to pray to the Supreme Lord within Devaki's womb.
Our dear Lord, it is very difficult to understand your eternal form of personality. Therefore you personally descend to display your original features. Even though people can understand the different incarnations of your Lordship, they are puzzled to understand the eternal form of Krishna with two hands, moving among the human beings exactly like one of them.
Our dear Lord, before this appearance, you appeared as the fish incarnation, the horse incarnation, the tortoise, the swan, as King Ramachandra, Parasaram, and many other incarnations. You descend just to protect the devotees, and we request you that in your present appearance as the Supreme Personality of Godhead Himself, to give us similar protection and remove all obstacles so that we may realize the purpose of this human form of life.
When the time was mature for the Lord's appearance, the constellations became very auspicious. At that time, in all directions, there was an atmosphere of peace and prosperity. Auspicious stars appeared in the sky, and in the towns and villages, in the pasturing grounds, and within the minds of everyone, there were signs of good fortune. The rivers flowed full of waters, and lakes were beautifully decorated with lotus flowers. In the forests, birds sang with sweet voices, and the peacocks began to dance.
The twice-born Brahmins had been very distressed due to persecution by the demoniac kings. But on the eve of Lord Krishna's appearance, their minds became full of joy. Then, in the prison of Kamsa, Lord Krishna appeared as the 8th child of Devaki in the dense darkness of night. The Supreme Lord was born with 4 arms, holding a conch shell, a club, a disc, and a lotus flower, and his body was decorated with jewels and ornaments. He dressed in yellow silk and wore a helmet bedecked with dazzling gems. Vasudeva and Devaki were struck with wonder and began to offer prayers.
My dear Lord, I can understand who you are. You do not belong to this mundane world, but you are the original source of creation. The sages know you as the ultimate purpose of all sacrifices and austerities, the supreme lord of all planets and demigods, and the well-wisher of all living entities. And although I am an ordinary man, imprisoned by cruel Kamsa, still you have appeared to us. Because I am afraid of Kamsa, you have come just to protect me. Actually, you desire to protect all the innocent people of the world who are now harassed by the demoniac kings and politicians.
My lord, your transcendental form is perceived in meditation by great sages. But I am still afraid. As soon as Kamsa finds out that you have appeared, he might harm you. Please, for the time being, become invisible to our material eyes. Assume the form of an ordinary child.
On hearing their prayers, the Lord replied,
My dear mother and father, many ages ago, in the millennium of Swayambhuva Manu, Lord Brahma requested you to beget offspring. Both of you practiced severe austerities for 12,000 years by the calculation of the demigods. During that time, your mind was always absorbed in me. I was very much pleased by you. O sinless mother, your heart is always pure. At that time I also appeared before you and asked you to state your desire. You did not want liberation from this world of distress. You asked me instead to become your son, and I gave you the benediction that I would take birth as your son 3 times. And thus I first appeared as Prishnigarbha. In the next millennium, you and Vasudeva took birth as Aditi and Kashyapa, and I also became your child. I appeared in the form of a dwarf, known as Vamanadev. And now for the 3rd time, I am born as Krishna. I appear now in this Vishnu form just to convince you that I am the same supreme original Lord, again taken birth. And I assure you that this time, on account of your perfection, you shall go back to home, back to Godhead. Do not be afraid. Vasudeva, take me immediately to Gokula and replace me with the daughter who has just been born to Yashoda.
Having spoken thus, the Lord turned himself into an ordinary child and remained silent. Exactly at that time in Gokula, a daughter was born of Nanda and Yasoda. She was Yogamaya, the internal potency of the Lord. By the influence of Yogamaya, all the residents of Kamsa's palace, especially the doorkeepers, were overwhelmed with deep sleep, and the prison cell and all the palace doors mysteriously opened. The night was very dark, but as soon as Vasudeva took Krishna outside, he could see everything very clearly. Suddenly thunder shook the earth. There was severe rainfall. Vasudeva held his son Krishna very close. Lord Sesha, in the form of a serpent, spread his hoods over Vasudeva so that he would not be hampered by the rainfall. Vasudeva came to the Jamuna river and saw that it was roaring with waves and the whole span was full of foam. But in that fury, the river still gave passage to Vasudeva to cross, just as the great Indian Ocean gave a path to Lord Rama. After Vasudev reached the other side, he went to the house of Nanda Maharaj. There he saw that everyone was fast asleep. He silently entered the room of Mother Jasoda, who had just given birth to a girl. She was very tired from the labor of childbirth and could not remember whether she had given birth to a male or to a female child. Vasudeva exchanged his boy with her girl and then returned to the prison, where he placed the girl on the lap of Deva. On hearing their prayers, the Lord replied,
My dear mother and father, many ages ago, in the millennium of Swayambhuva Manu, Lord Brahma requested you to beget offspring. Both of you practiced severe austerities for 12,000 years by the calculation of the demigods. During that time, your mind was always absorbed in me. I was very much pleased by you. O sinless mother, your heart is always pure. At that time, I also appeared before you and asked you to state your desire. You did not want liberation from this world of distress. You asked me instead to become your son, and I gave you the benediction that I would take birth as your son 3 times, and thus I first appeared as Prishnigarbha. In the next millennium, you and Vasudeva took birth as Aditi and Kashyapa, and I also became your child. I appeared in the form of a dwarf, known as Vamanadev. And now for the 3rd time, I am born as Krishna. I appear now in this Vishnu form just to convince you that I am the same supreme original Lord, again taken birth. And I assure you that this time, on account of your perfection, you shall go back to home, back to Godhead. Do not be afraid. Vasudeva, take me immediately to Gokula and replace me with the daughter who has just been born to Yashoda.
Having spoken thus, the Lord turned himself into an ordinary child and remained silent. Exactly at that time in Gokula, a daughter was born of Nanda and Yasoda. She was Yogamaya, the internal potency of the Lord. By the influence of Yogamaya, all the residents of Kamsa's palace, especially the doorkeepers, were overwhelmed with deep sleep, and the prison cell and all the palace doors mysteriously opened. The night was very dark, but as soon as Vasudeva took Krishna outside, he could see everything very clearly. Suddenly thunder shook the earth. There was severe rainfall. Vasudeva held his son Krishna very close. Lord Sesha, in the form of a serpent, spread his hoods over Vasudeva so that he would not be hampered by the rainfall. Vasudeva came to the Jamuna river and saw that it was roaring with waves and the whole span was full of foam. But in that fury, the river still gave passage to Vasudeva to cross, just as the great Indian Ocean gave a path to Lord Rama. After Vasudeva reached the other side, he went to the house of Nanda Maharaj. There he saw that everyone was fast asleep. He silently entered the room of Mother Jasoda, who had just given birth to a girl. She was very tired from the labor of childbirth and could not remember whether she had given birth to a male or to a female child. Vasudeva exchanged his boy with her girl and then returned to the prison, where he placed the girl on the lap of Devaki. He again clamped the shackles onto himself so that Kamsa could not recognize that anything had happened. Outside the prison cell, the gatekeepers finally awoke and heard the newborn child crying. They immediately ran to Kamsa's chambers.
Kamsa! Kamsa, the 8th child is born!
Now the cruel death of my life has appeared.
Immediately he rushed through the halls of his palace and down the stairs to the dungeon, where he stood before Devaki.
Give me the child!
My dear brother, please do not kill this female child. I promise that this child will be the wife of your son. You are not to be killed by any female child. That was the omen. You are to be killed by a male. My dear brother, you have killed so many of my children who were just born, shining as the sun.
That is not your fault. You have been advised by demoniac friends to kill them. But now I beg you to excuse this girl. Let her live as my daughter. Give her to me as a gift.
Cruel Kamsa did not listen to the beautiful prayers of his sister. He forcefully grabbed the newborn child and tried to dash her to the ground. But immediately the child slipped out of his hands and flew to the sky. She assumed her actual form as the younger sister of Vishnu. Each of her 8 arms carried a weapon. She called out to Kamsa below,
Kamsa, you fool! How can you kill me? I am the goddess Durga. The child who will kill you is already born somewhere within this world. Don't be so cruel to your poor sister.
After hearing these words, Kamsa became overwhelmed with fear.
My dear sister and brother-in-law, I have acted just like a demon in killing my own nephews. I have given up all consideration of our intimate relationship. I do not know what will be the result of these acts of mine. Probably I shall be sent to the hell where the killers of Brahmins go. I am surprised, however, that the celestial prophecy has not come true. False propaganda is not only found in human society. Now it appears that even the celestial denizens speak lies. And because I believe them, I have committed so many atrocities against you. My dear sister Devaki, you are so gentle and kind. Please forgive me. Don't be saddened by the death of your children. Vasudev, I am very poor-hearted, and you are so great-hearted. Have compassion upon me.
Kamsa, due to illusion, one mistakes this body to be his actual self. And that ignorance of the real self causes fear, greed, envy, and forgetfulness of his everlasting relationship with the Supreme Lord. No, Kamsa, we have no ill feeling toward you.
No, my brother, we forgive you.
I feel relieved by your words. Please, go back to your home. You need no longer suffer.
Now the next morning, Kamsa summoned his counselors and informed them of the events of that night.
And so the goddess Durga revealed that he who is to slay me has already been born somewhere else.
Now we cannot delay. He is lurking somewhere, no doubt. I say kill all the children born within the last 10 days.
Of course, yes, that's what we must do.
What of the demigods? Will they not try to stop us?
What can they achieve? The demigods cannot do anything against us.
My lord, they run in fear when they hear the sound of your bow.
They are proud of being fighters, but they have no ability on the battlefield.
When they see your arrows in the sky, my lord, the demigods at once fall to their knees and beg you, please spare us, oh spare us.
Yes, we are afraid of your prowess and surrender unto you. You, my lord, are the strongest of the strong, and since the demigods fear you, we have no reason to be afraid of them.
As far as Lord Vishnu is concerned, he has hidden himself in the hearts of all living beings and is afraid to come out.
Even Lord Shiva, being overwhelmed with fear, has renounced all activities and has entered the forest.
And Lord Brahma, trembling in fear, is trying to calm himself and relieve his anxiety through meditation.
What to speak of Indra and the others, who are all like pieces of straw in comparison to your strength?
There is no one in the universe as powerful as you, my lord. Therefore, do as you please.
As always, I am pleased to receive your good counsel. Now tell me, what other action should we take?
The best action is to crush the Brahmanas. The Brahmanas worship Vishnu because the ultimate goal of all religious principles is to satisfy him. The Vedic knowledge, the Brahmanas, as well as the cows and austerities and giving and charity and tolerance and truthfulness are all the bodily limbs of this Vishnu. So let us begin by killing the Brahmanas and killing the cows who supply the much-needed milk to maintain a godly civilization, huh?
Being thus advised by his demoniac ministers, Kamsa let out a sigh of relief, for he felt satisfied with their plans. But it is said, when a man persecutes the great souls, he becomes bound up by all-devouring eternal time, and his longevity, beauty, fame, and blessings are all destroyed. In the meanwhile, Nanda Maharaj and the residents of Vrindavan were overwhelmed with jubilation. Indeed, Nanda Maharaj could hardly contain his joy, for his wife had given birth to a beautiful baby boy.
My dear residents of Vrindavan, I have wonderful news. A male child has been born of Yashoda. I pray to Lord Vishnu that he may protect him. My only wish is that this newborn child should be happy in all respects. On this joyous occasion, I give 200,000 cows in charity to the Brahmins, as well as hills of grain and many fine ornaments. Let there be a grand celebration, and let the Brahmins sing auspicious hymns to invoke all good fortune for the child.
When all the ecstatic cowherdmen heard that Nanda Maharaj was celebrating the birth ceremony of his son, they dressed themselves with costly garments, and put on earrings and necklaces, and some wore great turbans on their heads. They took various kinds of gifts, and thus approached the house of Nanda Maharaj. They all blessed the child. "Dear child, you live long just to protect us." They sprinkled a mixture of turmeric powder with oil, yogurt, milk, and water on the child's body, and on each other as well. They even threw butter balls upon each other. Nanda Maharaj was very happy to see this fun. In the meantime, musicians played for the pleasure of all. Verses were recited from the Puranas and Upanishads. Some were glorifying the family ancestors, and some were singing very sweet songs. Being greatly satisfied, Nanda Maharaj gave generously to all of them, as well as to the many learned Brahmanas present.
My dear Brahmins, I know that you have no other desire than to please Lord Vishnu. You glorify the Lord and worship him with your body, mind, and words. The Brahmins are considered the mouth of Lord Vishnu, and by offering food to you, Lord Vishnu is also satisfied.
It appears the residents of Vrindavan were quite wealthy, although they lived in a small village. Their wealth was in milk, yogurt, clarified butter, and many other milk products. And by trading their agricultural products, they were rich in various kinds of jewelry, ornaments, and costly dresses, and they could even give these things away in charity, as did Nanda Maharaj. After the birth ceremony, Nanda Maharaj decided to go to Mathura.
Today, I, along with some of the other men, will start to Mathura to pay the annual tax to the government of Kamsa. Now the women, the children, the elderly, and the animals must always be protected. So I want all of the able-bodied men of the village who are staying back to take special care of Vrindavan in our absence.
When Nanda Maharaj arrived in Mathura, Vasudev, who was very eager to congratulate his friend, immediately went to the place where he was staying. When Vasudev saw Nanda, he felt he had regained his life. Both were overwhelmed with joy, and they embraced each other. My dear friend Nanda Maharaj, it is so good to see you again. I know the Lord has been very kind upon you. You were very anxious to beget a son, and yet you had none. Now, by the grace of the Lord, you are fortunate to have a nice son. This is very auspicious, and I am so happy for you. My friend, I was in prison by Kamsa, and now I am released. Therefore, this is another birth for me. I had no hope of seeing you again, but now, by God's grace, we meet again. My dear friend, by nature's way, friends do not remain together very long. Although we have our family and relatives, sons and daughters, in due course of time, we are all separated from one another by the waves of time. Just as there are many plants living in the ocean, sometimes one wave brings them together and another wave separates them forever.
My dear Vasudev, I know that you are very much aggrieved because the cruel King Kamsa has killed all your sons. Although the last child was a daughter, Kamsa could not kill her, and she has entered into the celestial planets. My dear friend, do not be aggrieved. We are all controlled by our past deeds, and one who understands the law of karma will not be aggrieved at any incident, happy or miserable.
Nanda, my friend, please listen. If you have already paid the government taxes and finished your business here, then return to your home as soon as possible. I feel there may be some disturbance there.
Nanda Maharaj immediately began for Gokula. Certainly Vasudev's advice was friendly and not false. He thought there was some truth to it. Out of fear, he began to take shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is quite natural for a devotee in danger to think of Krishna, for he has no other shelter.
After consulting with his demoniac ministers, Kamsa called for a witch named Putana.
Putana, you know the black art of killing small children by ghastly means. You can fly in the sky, traveling from one place to another on the branch of an uprooted tree. Go to the villages and use your black art to kill all the newborn children.
Putana dressed herself just like a beautiful woman and entered the quarters of Nanda Maharaj without permission. She appeared very attractive with her thin waist, raised hips, shapely breasts, earrings, and flowers in her long hair. She glanced at everyone with a smiling face, and all the residents of Vrindavan were captivated. The innocent cowherd women thought that she was a goddess of fortune appearing in Vrindavan just to see Krishna. Because of her exquisite beauty, no one questioned her as she entered the house of Nanda. There, Putana, the killer of many children, found baby Krishna lying on a small bed. Strange! This child is not ordinary. No, my pretty one, you're not ordinary at all, are you? I think you are so powerful that you can destroy the whole universe. When Putana was taking baby Krishna on her lap, both Yashoda and Rohini were present. But they did not forbid her because she displayed such motherly affection towards Krishna. They didn't understand that she was like a dangerous sword in a beautifully decorated case. Putana had smeared a very powerful poison on her breasts, hoping that as soon as the child would try to take her milk, he would die. baby Krishna, in anger, very quickly took the nipple and sucked out not only the poison, but the demon's life air as well. As Krishna sucked out her very breath, Putana fell down on the ground and began to cry. "Oh, child, go away from me! Leave me! Leave me!"
She cried and screamed, and as she fell to the ground, there was a tremendous vibration both on the earth and in the sky. In all directions, the people covered their ears and thought that thunderbolts were falling. She assumed her real feature as a gigantic demon. As she fell dead, she opened her fierce mouth and spread out her arms and legs. The long hair on her head was scattered all over her body, which extended up to 12 miles, smashing the trees to pieces. Her teeth appeared just like plowed roads, and her nostrils were just like mountain caves. Her breasts were like small hills, and her hair was a vast reddish bush. Her eye sockets were as deep as blind wells, and her thighs appeared like the banks of a river. Her two hands appeared like strongly constructed bridges, and her stomach seemed like a dried-up lake. The people became struck with awe and wonder upon seeing all this. And thus, the nightmare of the Putana witch came to an end.
When the gopis saw little Krishna fearlessly playing on Putana's lap, they quickly came and picked him up. Mother Jasoda, Rohini, and other elderly gopis at once performed auspicious rituals. The child was smeared with cow dung, washed with the urine of a cow, and sprinkled with the dust upraised by the walking of the cows. This was all just to save little Krishna from future accidents. Such was the importance of the cow to society. Mother Jasoda and Rohini chanted 12 names of Vishnu to give Krishna protection from all evil influences.
My dear Krishna, may the Lord who is known as Maniman protect your thighs. May Lord Vishnu, who is known as Yagya, protect your legs. May Lord Achyuta protect your arms. May Lord Hayagriva protect your abdomen. May Lord Keshava protect your heart. May Lord Vishnu protect your arms. May Lord Urukram protect your face. May Lord Ishvara protect your head. May Lord Chakradhar protect your front. May Lord Gadadhar protect your back. May Lord Madhusudana, who carries a bow in his hand, protect your eyesight. May Lord Vishnu, with his conch shell, protect your left side. May the personality of Godhead Upendra protect you from below the earth. May Lord Haladar protect you from all sides. May the personality of Godhead, known as Rishikesh, protect your senses. May Lord Krishnigar protect your intelligence, and may the Supreme Personality of Godhead protect your soul. While you are playing, may Lord Govinda protect you from all danger. When you are working, may the Lord of Vaikuntha protect you from falling down. When you are sitting, may the Lord of Vaikuntha give you all protection. And while you are eating, may the Lord of all sacrifices give you all protection.
Mother Yashoda was firmly convinced that she should protect her child from evil spirits and ghosts. Sometimes they appear in dreams and cause anxiety. Sometimes they appear as old women and suck the blood of small children. But all such ghosts and evil spirits cannot remain where there is chanting of the holy name of God. Wherever the chanting of Krishna is done, even negligently, all bad elements, which is ghosts and dangerous calamities, immediately disappear. The elderly gopis of Vrindavan were so absorbed in affection for Krishna that they wanted to save him, although there was no need to, for he had already protected himself. They could not understand that Krishna was the Supreme Personality of Godhead, playing as a child. After the Vishnu mantras were recited, Mother Yashoda took baby Krishna and let him suck her own breast. Thus, she felt that he was safe. In the meantime, the cowherd men who went to Mathura to pay taxes returned home. They were amazed upon seeing the gigantic dead body of Putana.
The residents chopped the witch into pieces and piled it up with their wood for burning. And as her body burned, it created a good aroma. This was due to her being killed by Krishna. The demon Putana came to kill Krishna, but because he sucked her milk, she was immediately purified and her body attained a transcendental quality. Her only business was to kill small children. She was very fond of sucking blood, but in spite of being envious of Krishna, she attained salvation. When Nanda Maharaj came home, he recalled the prophecy of Vasudeva. He took Krishna upon his lap and began to smell his head. In this way, he was quite satisfied that his little child was saved from this great calamity. After a year had passed, Vasudeva asked his family priest, Garga Muni, to visit Nanda Maharaj in order to astrologically calculate the life of Krishna. By this particular science, a person can understand the future very clearly. Garga Muni was proficient in this knowledge. He was a great sage who underwent many austerities and penances and was appointed priest of the Yadu dynasty. When Garga Muni arrived in Vrindavan, Nanda Maharaj was very pleased to see him and immediately stood up with folded hands and offered his respects. He received Garga Muni with the feeling of one who is worshipping God.
O best of the Brahmins, we are always busy in household affairs and forgetful of our real duty of self-realization. I'm sure that you have come to our house to give us some enlightenment about spiritual life. Otherwise, you have no other purpose for your visit.
Vasudeva has sent me to see to the reformatory rites of your two sons. Now I am their family priest, and according to my astrological calculations, it appears that Krishna is the son of Vasudeva and Devaki.
What? Indeed. Indeed. My dear Brahmin, you are one of the great authorities in astrological science. You must perform the reformatory ceremony to purify my boys.
If I perform this ceremony publicly, then Kamsa would understand that Krishna was the son of Devaki. According to my calculations, it was impossible for Devaki's eighth child to have been a female. Now, if I give your child a name, and if he fulfills the prophecy, then the sinful Kamsa would surely come and kill him after the name-giving ceremony.
If there is such danger, then it is better not to plan any elaborate ceremony. It would be better for you to simply chant the Vedic hymns and perform the ceremony in secret.
So the name-giving ceremony was held secretly in the cowshed of Nanda Maharaj. Garga Muni carefully did not disclose the fact that Balaram also appeared in the womb of Devaki and was subsequently transferred to the womb of Rohini. And Krishna and Balaram are actually brothers. This boy, the son of Rohini, will be very pleasing to his family. In the future he will be extraordinarily strong and therefore will be called Balaram. Because your family and the family of the Yadus are so intimately connected, his name will also be Sankarshan. As far as the other boy is concerned, this child has taken different bodily complexions in different millenniums. First he assumed the color white, then the color red, then yellow, and now he has assumed the color black. Since he was formerly the son of Vasudeva, therefore his name would be Vasudeva as well as Krishna. One thing you must know, this child has had many, many other names and activities due to his different pastimes. I know everything about his activities, but others do not. This child will be very pleasing to all the cowherd men and cows. Being very popular in Vrindavan, he will be the cause of all good fortune for you. Because of his presence, you will overcome all kinds of calamities.
This is truly wondrous. Please go on.
My dear King Nanda, in his previous births, this child many times protected righteous persons from the hands of rogues and thieves whenever there was political disruption. Your child is so powerful that anyone who becomes his devotee will never be troubled by enemies. This child will grow in power, beauty, opulence, in everything on the level of Narayan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, I would advise that you protect him very carefully so that he may grow without disturbance. Your son will be threatened by so many demons. So be careful and watch over him.